Greetings and welcome to the CTC Inside Voice podcast. Inside Voice is technology talk with a cooperative focus. My name is Daniel, Marcom specialist with CTC. Be sure to check us out on SoundCloud at soundcloud.com/CTC Inside Voice. You can also check out our blog at ctc-next.com. That's ctc-next.com. Today we're talking to Eric Kapajoki, CTC Sales Manager. We're going to get his experience with over-the-top video, or OTT video. Eric is an early adopter of OTT technologies, and he's also going to talk about the future of video in the telco. Welcome to CTC Inside Voice. My name is Daniel. I'm here with Eric Kapajoki, our sales manager with CTC. And Eric is joining us here for our first podcast. In the intro, I introduced him as an early adopter of over-the-top technology. Well, he's an early adopter of our podcast environment. Be sure to check us out on SoundCloud. We're at soundcloud.com/CTC Inside Voice. And then also our YouTube channel. We're going to have some demonstrations coming up here of some of the things we're going to talk about in this podcast, and that's at Connect CTC. So go to YouTube and find us at Connect CTC. So we'll get started here. Over-the-top technologies really kind of just covers more about content, really. And basically, I guess the way that I would describe over-the-top is that the provider is aware of the transmission, but we're not necessarily responsible for it. I think that's the way that I would put it.
It is. I mean, you're kind of over the top is almost like, looking at it even from like an open source side of the house, you're kind of opening it up to the world to utilize technology. And I mean, over the top, instantly we think of TV or how people stream, Netflix.
Sure.
But it's so much more than that.
Well, it goes
so
into
many other opportunities.
Yeah, text messaging, voice applications. There's all kinds of collaboration now. So, I mean, it wasn't that long ago that I remember when the cable systems came in. As far as distributing television, that's really all you had. I mean, if you didn't have a cable network, you were kind of out of it.
Pushing it to the internet side of the house, it's opened up so many more things. I mean, CTC specifically, even it's going to be the day where we're just going to give someone their gig,
right?
And what they do with it, from phone, video, social media, anything else, we're just giving them a path to get to and from. On that end, Daniel. Yeah,
in fact, with some of the smart home technologies, that's kind of an interesting thing too, because when you really look at it, it's really the first time that your home is able to communicate out to you. If you think about it, from that standpoint, I mean, as a rural telco, we've got 60 plus years here. I mean, we really got our start with connecting telephone service out to rural areas.
Well, and now we've taken that connected home and things, that step further. I mean, at my house, I can open my garage door if the delivery man needs to put a package in my garage. I can unlock my door. I can check my thermostat. If there's water damage in my basement, it sends me an alert and says, "Hey, there's water down here. You better come check this out. Something's wrong." I mean, in Brainerd, Minnesota.
And then that really kind of talks to the Internet of Things and how the sensor network, and we can kind of go further on that one. But I think, the most important thing in terms of over-the-top technologies is that, again, providing that connection to people to do those things that they really want to do. I want to talk about kind of video now a little bit. So over-the-top video, I want to say in the past probably 8 to 10 years, I got to say that video traffic on the network, just in terms of utilization, is just, it's kind of gone through the roof. Things like YouTube, Vimeo, Netflix, Amazon, Apple TV. The list kind of goes on. And then within each one of these, with Netflix, there's hardware that kind of supports that back end. So one of the first devices that kind of come on the market was Roku. And on that Roku box, I remember getting that Roku box because I had a Netflix subscription. Now, Netflix originally was a disc distributor, basically. It was a mail order
Yeah, absolutely. I remember it was early 2008. It had to have been like January. I remember it was still snowing out, and I was traveling for work and sat in one of our remote offices and was waiting for a conference call. And I can't remember what came across, but it showed something of Roku and you could stream Netflix. Well, I'm thinking, you mean I don't have to go through that monotonous resending of the discs? As much as it was cool, it was just that work that my brain didn't correlate to, and all of a sudden now I can watch it on demand.
Well, yeah. I mean, even at the time, getting that distribution and waiting for that disc to come to your door was really new and interesting. And then they were one of the first to sort of start pushing this idea that, oh, hey, let's just skip the disc. You've already got your subscription to your disc. Why don't we just give you access to our Netflix streaming service? And now,
when you get through the idea of, back then it was still infancy stages of, well, I can watch it on the internet. Well, is it really going to be as good?
Yeah.
There's this odd white elephant in the room. Do you think it's there? And pretty soon you get through that. You get your Roku. So I order that Roku and I get it, and I've got, they didn't have all the titles that you could get at the time from DVD, but they had a lot of them, and it was, I could watch it when I wanted to, on demand.
Right.
And it was like the coolest thing ever. And getting that Roku, they didn't have all the channels that Roku's got thousands of channels now, and they were maybe at 100. Netflix was the big one. Amazon Prime was on there, so you could do like the video on demand type thing, and they were still kind of growing it. But those were the two big ones, and Hulu came in. But Netflix specifically, and I remember my kids, at the time they were 7 and 9, and that became how my kids started to watch TV. And this is 8 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing how, that millennial generation has evolved into binge watching of what I watch now, Daniel.
Yeah. In fact, I've got a son who I think he probably does everything on his phone. And even if he is watching video, he's sending it to my Apple TV through AirPlay to watch it on the TV from his phone. I mean, that goes for everything from video to music to images. I mean, it just depends on what he wants to do with it. But they are completely out of the habit of expecting anything from a cable box, or a set-top box.
And it goes back to that point of, and I think someone said it at a meeting we were at yesterday, my kids don't understand commercials.
Yeah.
What's this, whether it's DVR in our cable box, but yet it's going back to that over the top because it's, I'm watching it now.
Yeah, exactly.
And I want to watch all 32 episodes of it now. I mean, it's like some weekend binge watching thing.
Yeah, and that's really where it started. I mean, it was like, for me anyway, the documentaries were huge, and there's so many educational opportunities through over the top, especially with YouTube. I mean, with YouTube you can kind of go down the rabbit hole. It just depends on what you're interested in. I got on a kick where I was checking out videos on blacksmithing for a while there, and it just goes on and on and on. If you want to learn how to make nails, you can. You want to make a bottle opener? I mean, it goes real granular too. It's like you got a guy that's reviewing different hammers and stuff.
And you look at it, and those people, it's free. I mean, you're teaching people things, and I know that there's this on-demand training for different whatever industry you're in. On YouTube, all this content's for free, and there's things you can try and do, and people talk about Googling it, YouTubing it. I mean, here, want to try doing this? I mean, it's all right there at your fingertips.
Well, let's talk about in terms of how it affects the telco. As telecommunications provider, I don't know when the concept of a triple play came in, but initially we were a telephone provider. And then back in, I want to say 2001 maybe, I could be wrong on that, but at one point we started offering DSL services. Well, no, it was dial-up first.
Yep.
And then we offered DSL services in small areas, and then we've grown that out, obviously, to a fiber network that we have now. But in there somewhere we added television service to it. And I think that was really, I think, to remain competitive with the other providers. Wouldn't that be?
Yeah, I mean, you look at it, because TV is that kind of that beast in our world, or the double-edged sword, because originally you had Charter, that was the TV provider at their core, coming in to offer phone and internet. Well, then here's companies like CTC at our core. We're the traditional telco. It's what we do very, very well, offering internet. Now we're offering TV. So they came and offered telephone service a little later, we offered video service a little later. Now we're in, offering that triple play because that's what people expect, or they want, whether it's at their house or their business, they want the ability to get those services. And you need to offer them, otherwise you're not going to get the ones you want at your core, phone and internet.
Gotcha. Yeah, and so that expectation really was kind of setting up as far as the product goes.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that CTC as a whole has really evolved into this content provider, and we have an excellent video product. If you were to ask some of the employees or even our customers in 2004 or early 2005, did we have an excellent video product? They're probably going to be honest and say no. But again, was the product we offered? I mean, I think that the product we offered has come just a long ways because we've learned, but so have the distributors that give us the feeds and products, because again, they got into the game a little later as well, and we've just refined that product, so it's phenomenal.
Yeah, and then on the other side of that too, we've got the issue with viewership really is dropping. There's a lot of cord cutting going on. I think we saw that with telephone service, just kind of in general, landline service and that kind of thing. The same kind of precipitous drop that we're seeing in terms of people, actually hooking up a landline is dropping. We're kind of seeing that with TV too.
We are. I think that, again, people are looking at it saying, I don't want 200 channels because you know what, I watch 5 of them. Mm-hmm. And they want the control, and it all comes into that. And I think a lot of it has to do with millennial generation as well, more on demand. I want to watch what I want when I want. Mm-hmm. And I think that, you take whether it's a Blu-ray player or a Roku or your iPad, and you don't need to have all these channels. I'm going to watch Netflix, or I'm going to watch Game of Thrones on, HBO. And I don't need to get that from from CTC or from our competitors. I can get it right off of subscription online from someone, Right. And I think that's what they're looking at, is to say, you know what, I'd probably still go out and spend, let's say I'm spending $70 a month on my cable TV. I'd rather go spend $70 and just buy a la carte on what I want. And I'm going to feel like I'm getting more for my money than that money I'm paying to that video company. Yeah.
And, I think, Netflix and Amazon are kind of taking advantage of this. It's interesting, actually, because when you consider Netflix, where that kind of came from with disc distribution and then into offering some of these things with streaming, they're actually moving into producing their own content now. They're also picking up shows that maybe got canceled out of the networks, which is kind of interesting. Amazon is producing its own content now, and so there's been this real shift. And I mean, really, what it really amounts to is that people want to watch TV when they want to watch TV, I think, more than anything.
Well, in looking at, Netflix, think about the billions of dollars that they've budgeted just for original programming, or picking up, Full House, or
Sure.
Fuller House, and taking it a step further, Arrested Development. I mean, and people are looking at it. There's just huge opportunities, and people love it. I mean, take Making a Murderer. That whole phenomenon of Steve Avery and the Making a Murderer, I mean, it just exploded.
Yeah.
You couldn't go anywhere, and people were talking about it randomly at the coffee shop or the gas station or at social media.
Right.
All from over the top.
Right, and this isn't something that would have necessarily been picked up by the network.
Yes,
in a way, it's interesting because when we got our start as a telco, we were getting telephone service out to areas that were unserved, basically. So some of the big, the Ma Bell and stuff, it isn't cost effective for them to run, copper lines for 15 miles or whatever to get one subscriber. And so you got to kind of band together and provide that for that area. So in a way, it's not like we're necessarily helping, places like Netflix and Amazon, but I find the parallels kind of interesting that, now the networks are so big, it's not worth their time to go into some of this more, minutia and some of those detailed things, and then maybe pick up stuff that fans want to see. So in a way, it's kind of like we're deciding what we want to watch.
Absolutely, we're empowering the people, and I think that people have gotten used to that. I mean, that's what again. It's I want it now. I'm not waiting for my show next Tuesday because it comes on Tuesday nights at 8:00.
Right.
Or if I'm DVRing it, I'm watching it all now because they just released all 13 episodes.
Right.
And I know what I'm doing on a Saturday for the next 13 hours.
Yeah, which is which can be a positive thing and a negative thing. Kind of depends on how much time you got. I mean,
Yep.
But that's the point of it. It's going to wait. You're going to get to it. Now, you can just go back to that over and over and over again. And
It's always there.
Yeah.
There's no, I mean, you think about the early adoption of people recording, setting their VCRs and things. Back then there wasn't.
Right.
That was that opportunity you had to watch, and now it's like, I'll watch it later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember some of the early Cartoon Network, Adult Swim. When we lived in Colorado, we used to record that and on the VCR, and then I'd get up in the morning and watch it, and because it was on pretty late. And I don't know exactly where I'm going with this, but basically now. If I really want to watch these episodes, I can just go to CartoonNetwork.com, go to their Adult Swim page or whatever it is that I'm looking for, and find it. And I think our TV Everywhere product is kind of like that. I mean, that gives access to some of this content because a lot of the networks are putting their content online.
Absolutely, Daniel. You look at it. I think we've got over 50 of our individual channels that have either apps or the ability to watch, through watchTVEverywhere.com. Even like sports. So think in the Brainerd area, people love or they have this infatuation with the North Dakota State Bison.
Yeah.
And no local cable provider, whatever company you're looking at, has the ability to show those games. ESPN3 has it though. And if you have the Watch ESPN app, which TV or CTC does, you can watch it through your Roku or your smart TV or your laptop or your phone, and you can watch those Bison games for no additional cost.
Right.
And that gets sports is a whole nother realm when it comes to over the top and some of the limitations, but that's just one little example.
Yeah,
Go back and watch Chris Angel episodes from A&E randomly on the A&E app. I mean, just the fun stuff that's out there for people, because of the Watch TV Everywhere affiliations that we have. I mean, there's all kinds of ABC, NBC, they've all got their stuff out there to archive.
So if you subscribe to the TV service, then you have access to this TV Everywhere.
Yep, kind of like icing on the cake.
Sure.
Some additional things that are there for you, and cool things you could do with that. I mean, you could take it into a Roku interface, and you have your Netflix or your Amazon Prime, where you can add all these other channels.
Right.
And now you've got your set-top box utilizing your CTC internet or your CTC wireless internet, for instance.
Yeah.
And now you've can watch your on-demand content and don't have to have a set-top box because maybe that's what how you want to watch TV in that room or that area. We as the co-op at our core provider have to find and embrace creative ways, to get it out to our members, to look at it and say, there's a product out there, a channel called Sling TV, and there's no affiliation with CTC at all, but Dish Network started it in January of 2015, and it's 20 channels. $20 a month, no contract. It includes ESPN, ESPN2, TBS, TNT, AMC, CNN, Cartoon Network, Disney Junior, so that you've got kind of that mixture for people that want to shave or cut the cord.
And that's that local content too that a lot of people are afraid to maybe lose.
And they are. Well, that's even where Skitter TV comes into play as well.
Yeah.
And you can get the ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox. And you can embrace it through a cord cutting environment, and it's really cool. And you've seen some of those interfaces and stuff there too. I don't know if it's for everyone. I think the cool part is a lot of them have try a free week,
right? So
you get to experience it because one of the things we've seen is that two things happen when people cut the cord. The channel surfers are not happy with it.
Sure.
That's that traditional person like yourself or I come home from work or
Last
from somewhere.
button.
Hey, yep, I'm going up and down. What do I got?
Back.
Yep.
Yeah.
No DV. It's not the DVR
Right.
side of the house. I'm just trying to find something to watch. And it's now the channel change comes instant. We find that gratification. When you're using over the top, it's deliberate. I'm going here to watch this, or I'm looking to see what I'm watching. And it's not now. The other thing that once in a while that you miss on it too is the regional sports. So for those in Brainerd, Minnesota Wild, Minnesota Twins, the Gophers, the Timberwolves, that is not out on streaming content for live sports. If I want to watch baseball, I can go to the MLB app, but if I want to watch the Twins, they will not let me watch a game that's going on as we speak. I can archive yesterday's game or a game from 10 days ago, but because of advertising rights, there's a blackout for the immediate broadcast. You can always go back and archive, no problem.
Right.
I can watch a live broadcast of the California Angels at any time, but I just can't watch my in-market team.
Yeah, and this has been a challenge, I think, with over-the-top video or third-party video anyway, has been really the sports, because that's kind of what it comes down to at this point. And these are huge franchises; they got a lot of money invested in this, and the traditional channels are working. Their distribution is working that way. That's probably going to be the final, I would say, battleground.
It is. I think, an example would be ESPN signed a contract last year with the NBA for over $1 billion. And so they have to get that money somehow, and it's going to come eventually from the subscriber on that end. And that's how the NBA is paying, $1 million salaries and things. And that's kind of how it all works. Maybe eventually someday ESPN might go off on their own. And they've talked about what that price could be and different things. But again, they're in no hurry because, again, sports is a whole other beast.
Yeah. There's a lot of money behind that. So for those of you watching on YouTube, we're going to have a demonstration of the TV Everywhere, and then we're also going to have a demonstration of the Skitter TV as well. I think I'm just going to kind of wrap it up here, Eric. That's great. Thank you for your insight on that. And
I love the industry. It's a great, I think it's ever changing. This over the top thing's a whole nother beast. And it was my first podcast too. So
thank you for joining us for CTC Inside Voice and the first episode, our over the top video and over the top technologies discussion with Eric Hopajoki, our sales manager at CTC. For more information on CTC, you can find us on the web at connectctc.com. If you're watching us on YouTube, stay tuned. We're going to have a demonstration of the TV Everywhere product as well as the new Skitter TV introduction. This is Daniel with CTC. Thanks for watching and have a great day. If you're a CTC TV subscriber, you have access to the Watch TV Everywhere application and website. To get started, you'll need to subscribe to any of our CTC TV packages. To register for the service, you'll need your CTC account number along with the exact spelling of the last name on the account. You'll also need an active email address to send the verification for setting up the account. To get started, in any internet-connected device, go to watchTVEverywhere.com in a web browser, or search for Watch TV Everywhere. You can connect to the Watch TV Everywhere service in any internet-connected device with a web browser. In this tutorial, we'll be using an iPad to connect to the Watch TV Everywhere service through the Safari browser. At the Watch TV Everywhere site, first, select your provider from the drop-down menu. Open the menu and scroll down to CTC-Brainerd. Once you've selected CTC-Brainerd, you'll see the CTC logo in the upper right hand of the web page. To register the account, select Register. This is where you'll register your account. Enter your CTC billing account number in the space provided, the last name on the statement, enter the verification code that's listed here, and then enter the new user information. You'll need to create a password here, as well as a password reset question. You'll need to enter the email address that you want the verification to be sent to. The verification email will include a link that you'll need to select in order to complete the verification process. Once you've set up your account, you can log in directly to the Watch TV Everywhere site from any web-connected browser. Once you're registered, you can log into the site and have access to all of the providers listed here. You can use this login information to set up apps from the providers on your Roku or streaming device. Once you've set up your login to the Watch TV Everywhere site, you may need to enter this information again at the provider's sites. Follow the instructions provided at the provider's site. And use the email address and the password that you used to set up the Watch TV Everywhere service. This concludes this tutorial and introduction for the Watch TV Everywhere service. If you have further questions, please call us at 218-454-1234 or visit us on the web at connectctc.com. That's connectctc.com. The following is an introduction to Skitter TV by CTC Sales Manager Eric Hopajoki.
All right, so we're looking at CTC's Skitter interface. And right now you can see we've got our Roku, and right now I'm using a Roku 3. We also are looking at getting things ready to test on a Roku 4, which is a really fast and rich interface, even more so than the 3. So you can see the Roku 3 is right down here. So right now my Roku interface is up. Standard stuff, Netflix. You can see I'm moving through Amazon, Watch ESPN. There's WWE Network, Sling TV, Sling Player Pandora. There's all kinds of channels and things you can look at, but the one we're going to concentrate on is the Skitter channel. And CTC has partnered with Skitter. And what Skitter is, it's an online interface that allows us to throw our open air content into a streaming format. So right now you can see it's loading. And I can go right into a guide, and I've got the ability. Right now this is beta test mode, so I'm pulling it from channels from Iowa and southern Minnesota. CTC's content will be put in here specifically for different channels. So you can see this is just like an interface you might get on CTC TV or another provider's type of services. We've got local weather, and I want to come down here to channel 5, and you can see that right now I'm watching ABC live. Here's the commercials coming right now. Picture is HD, phenomenal interface. If I want to come up and look at seeing what's next on other channels, I can go right here. So for instance, I can flip it to The Price is Right. So for instance, there's CBS now on that interface again. Another option for people who don't want to go out and get 85 channels of TV. They just want their local content. So again, ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox, PBS, or Lakeland. So again, I can get local news, local content. Heck, I can get the NHL or the NFL, I'm sorry, on CBS, or I can get it on Sunday Night Football on NBC. Fox carries it. So now I'm starting to pick up sports. And we talked about sports in our podcast and the ability not to get them. Well, little by little, we're giving people that opportunity. So again, you can see the interface is really kind of gooey and nice. It's no different than a set-top box interface that we've seen on our TV service or other ones in the past on that end, and we think it's a great opportunity. Again, we'll look at including a Roku and supporting it for you and giving you your full range of content. Skitter TV, if we look at it on our interface here, easy to move to. You can hook it up in about 5 minutes with a username and password, and you're in.